Hi, it's Hazel. Welcome to my channel and welcome to day 51 of the 100-Day Project. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are a subscriber, thank you for doing that. If you are considering subscribing, I hope to tip the balance and have you join us as well. Anyway, what I'm doing today is showing you an idea that I first saw, well, several years ago, done by Pam at the Paper Outpost. She basically was using some really sheer fabric and let me show you my samples, and attaching it to cardstock. So I'll start with this one. So this was basically a scarf, and these are colors that I love. And you can see that it was just added to, or it was glued onto some cardstock and then zigzagged around. And obviously I haven't done anything to the inside. These things have just been, I got off on a kick, I got off on a tangent. I made a whole bunch and then there they sat. Now I can see that I have some glue marks, so obviously, you know, the inside still needs to be finished, but at some point I guess I began putting pages together. This was one of those sheer, do you remember, well, several years back when chiffon-y type tops were the rage and people would be wearing them over. See, this one I just straight stitched, but because it's so fine and fraying, I should probably just, you know, give it a zigzag finish just to help contain some of those threads. But yeah, this was one of those things that you know, I just took a top apart. This was a scarf that I found. Okay, that's on yellow. Now this, if I remember correctly, this was kind of a reddish background, but I think I chose yellow because there's so many yellow butterflies there. But again, and I don't know what was up with my sewing, but clearly it's not very good. So I don't know which machine I was using at the time, or, you know, maybe it's my technique or whatever. I almost think that most of these should be re-sewn, because there seem to be quite a few missed stitches. And I know that's not the end of the world, and you know, a person maybe really shouldn't be troubling themselves about it, but having something fall apart after you invested a lot of time and effort into it isn't exactly smart either. So you can see that there's, you know, a few areas where there was not great adhesion. Again, you know, as you all know, if you've been doing this for more than 5 minutes, that there are ways to cover up practically any little glitch like that, any little boo-boo. If you're brand new and you think that making a mistake or having some imperfection is the end of the world, well, I'm here to say, get that notion out of your head, because that is not true. This was another one of those tops. You know, there was that phase. Oh, see that? There's an air bubble there. You know, and maybe this one, since it's so close to the spine, that could be covered with lace or something after the signatures are sewn in. I have to say, you know, a lot of these fabrics were tops that I own, but I have to say, as lovely as they were, like this, they're not very comfortable to wear because they absolutely do not breathe. So again, you can see some glue residue. So same scenario, but is that not a dramatic looking cover? And then this one, I think it was either a gigantic, oh see, air bubbles. It was just a gigantic piece of fabric. It was sort of an ombre thing. I've talked before about how much I love hot pink and orange. And so yeah, possibilities exist. So then I thought, well, okay, that's fine. I can show you, you know, big deal. So I thought, well, let's do something a little more. Let me do some of this in front of you. So this was a top. I just barely cut into it yesterday. Now, the pieces that I can salvage here are not that huge because it's almost like a, not a peplum, but a, you know, this second flouncy skirt part, sort of. This was a thrift store purchase. I liked it because of the paisley, because of the colors, because of that metallic thread running through it. So I think I don't even know what I did. Okay, this is that little skirt part, and I used, you know, one piece. Now, part of the fun, the challenge, is picking the color of cardstock that a person's going to use underneath. I pulled out several pieces. Well, let me put this aside for a second and show you this. Whoa, and show you this one. This, you'll see this fabric come up in a thrift haul video, you know, sometime soon. I liked it because it's script. So, in this case, it's kind of an ivory paper with a little fleck to it. But I also considered brown, which, you know, gives it a totally different look. But this paper, the reason this one didn't win out is it's not as thick. It's not as strong. I think I might have even tried it on black. So that's pretty nice too. I believe I tried it on this as well. I ended up using, obviously, the paisley on this one. I'm going to use this one on this one. And also in that same thrift haul is this fabric. And I think that's going to be lovely because of those flowers and the drama of the black. The reason some of these things look like I chewed them instead of cutting them is because a lot of this stuff does not rip, you know, like cotton would. So it was basically, and I did cut this cardstock down to 9 by 12, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, and I did leave it, I mean, I trimmed some of this off earlier. Where did I put those pieces? You can see that I trimmed bits off all of them because I didn't want to, you know, can you imagine how you'd have to smack yourself in the forehead if you have all this fabric and then cut your working piece too small? So better to have it too big. So in this case, it was kind of annoyingly big, so I trimmed it a little closer. Now, what I thought I'd do with this one, well, first of all, okay, first I'll tell you what I intended to do with it. It is not that easy. When you have a stripe, it becomes clear when your lines are not straight. I mean, here it's good. Here there's a bit of a wow in it. Here, not so good. So what my intention was on this particular one is to get the fabric glued down. I started, and I'll tell you what I was using. And of course, my sheet was still 12 inches. I didn't realize till I cut it down that I don't have much more to demo on here, although I am going to pull this back a bit because I do have an air bubble. So my intention here is to, well, or do I want to change my mind? My original intention was to just cut it up into tags type things. Like, you know, do I need 3 more journal covers? I mean, I have lots of journal covers. I just need to, you know, bite the bullet and get some of these done and listed and move on to the next thing. So I guess if these things get cut down into tag shapes, then the little wows in the lines will not be as big a deal as they might be on a cover. However, as I've already said, anything can be disguised with the prudent placement of other materials. Okay, so what did I use? I have no idea what I used on those first ones that I did after watching Pam's video. And I know that maybe a year or so ago, I tried to find her video to re-watch it and couldn't. So basically, it was just up to me to flounder through this and figure it out myself. So what I used the other day, oh, let's hope I can open it again. I never thought of that. Yeah, this is just a little jar from jam or something that I used to, with white glue, like school glue basically, thin down with some water. Now, I could have used a glue stick, but you know that glue sticks, you know, sometimes the application is not that even. It can be thicker in places and thinner in places. It can be, I don't know, I guess that's the main downfall in this particular case. I definitely didn't want to use Fabri-Tac or art glitter glue because of the ridging that would show through these sheer fabrics. Aleene's tacky glue would probably be fine, but it is so darn thick that spreading it would have been the issue. So what my plan was to use this glue. So I got the jar open and I decided to use just this little silicone spreader. So basically for this, I had dumped a bunch of glue on the paper, began spreading it out, and then just, you know, carried on. Now I found that I had to reapply it in several places because, no, I don't know if it was too watered down and it wasn't getting a good grab. Oh, I see I have a little ridge here. But again, not critical. So let's just kind of give you an idea of what I'm talking about. And hopefully you can see that. Now, this is not exactly ideal with me kind of picking up where I left off because it's going to be hard to smooth that out so that there isn't a kind of a ridge right there. But again, I kind of had to have a bit of a kind of do this in stages. Otherwise, you watch me spread glue, but don't really, we're not going to sit here together and watch it dry. So, oh, by the way, I've got my protecting my desk with a piece of plastic tablecloth. So basically what I tried to do was get it, as even as I could. And maybe, maybe by the time I smoothed it out like this, maybe there wasn't enough glue really left to get good, a good grab. And then basically, I was just using this card, hotel card, key card, to try to make some, to apply some pressure and get some good contact. I would suggest, if you're trying this for the first time, don't pick a pattern with a stripe unless you are a far more precise person than, or like torturing yourself. I don't know which would be the thing there, but now because this is going to dry clear, the fact that it is saturating the fabric and coming through is not really going to be a problem, because all of these have a fair bit of see what I mean? I don't know. Not sure why this is. I think there isn't much left in that jar. I know that Andrea from Artie Mae's is famous for using, white glue that has been watered down. And I just can't remember if she says it's 1/3, 2/3, like 1/3 water, or if it's half and half. But I'm thinking that, maybe I need to have a little more glue and a little less water, and basically just enough water to, make spreadability, kind of make it, easy enough to spread, easier to spread. So maybe I should stop peeking under there and let that be. I'm going to turn this over. I should apply some pressure from this side. I wanted to basically finish this one off and then do another one in front of you. But if this is the great results I'm getting, I don't know. Maybe what I should do. Okay, I'm just going to put that one out of the way a bit. Let's see what happens with that one. I thought that this one might be the next one to try, because I'm thinking the black might be the most finicky. Maybe what I should do with this one is just try the white glue, or the glue stick, I mean. I think it's also important to really be aware as you're gluing things down, not to have stray threads, getting under the surface of your fabric, because sure as heck, it will be visible afterwards. You'll either be able to see it or feel it or both. So The other thing to keep in mind is that, you know, the edges will be sewn around. And in the case of that paisley one that I was just working on, if I'm turning that into smaller things, you know, like it would be cut up and then it would be sewn. So there'd be more, there wouldn't be the whole 9x12 expanse that got some fuzz here. There wouldn't be the whole expanse that, you know, with just the outside stitching on the perimeter. It would be, the pieces would be smaller. So I'm trying to, let's see, there's some other little, trying to just get a feel. Oh, that's a dry area. It's a lot better to try to get the coverage even beforehand rather than try to remedy it after the fact. And of course, there's nothing stopping a person also from, you know, just doing wild and crazy stitching all over the fabric. So this is a salvage edge here, so I don't really want that to be you know, obviously I don't want that visible. Maybe I should pull it over a little more. And yes, there's text, there's script on here, but I don't think that it's going to matter if the if it's not perfectly lined up, because you can see that that's not how it was printed at all. It almost seems like I'm getting a better result with the glue stick. I just want to try to look at it from all angles and see if there's parts of it that didn't grab. This, you know, just by its nature, this sheer stuff is tricky to work with, so of course I didn't think of that earlier. But having some pinking shears on hand definitely, you know, helps with the fraying. I should probably apply some pressure here with the... Now, another thing that a person could do with these that would be really nice, I mean, especially if a person had a lot of fabric, and some of those giant scarves are, you know, you get a lot of fabric in there, is to fold it in half and sew the edges and make pouches out of them. Wouldn't that be cool? I do have that as another day's plan for the 100-day, but using trying to think what my prototype used. Was it wallpaper or was it napkin paper? either way, the concept, I mean, it works regardless of what sort of decorative element you pick. So fabric on cardstock, napkin on cardstock, wallpaper, gift wrap. It really is, boils down to personal taste. I know that I have a heck of a lot of scarves and a lot of this sheer drapey fabric. So I'm going to tighten this, and I think I'm just going to stick with glue stick. So, yeah, a person could make a whole set of pouches, matching ones. Oh, see, it's easier to tell on this black what is what's well covered and what isn't. In the past, I've talked about this glue stick and how I always buy it by the 12-pack, a couple 12 packs at a time, and get it from an art store in Edmonton, blah, blah, blah. Well, anyway, the sales, the little sales booklet came in the mail the other day, and I see that, like everything else, this stuff has gone up in price. So the sale price is going to be, why did I stop in the middle of, it's going to be $3.25 for the 40 gram. That's this big one. Whereas in the past, I was able to buy it on sale for, $2. So these are the times we live in. But obviously it's better to buy it at $3.25 than $4 something. I think I have pretty good coverage here, so. What's kind of nice about this fabric is that the flowers are, there is no upside. So in other words, these guys are facing up, right? But those guys are upside down. So, and these guys are upside down too. So it's, gives you a few more options, a little more leeway. See, it's easy to sort of bake in a crease if you're not kind of really watching. And I don't know that, like if I was using a brayer, I don't know that that would make it any better. Hey, maybe good old hands are the best thing. The card is probably a better idea for the back side. And of course, as this dries, once I, turn off the video, I'll put this somewhere under some weight to help with the flattening out process. I guess it would help if I didn't have glue gobbed on this plastic sheet. But these, really, they're they're pretty quick and easy. Like, could that get much quicker? I don't think so. Is that picking? Oh, brother. I'll have to brush that off when it's dry. Looks like it's picking up specks of gesso off this. Is the other side cleaner? This is what you call, this is what you call closing the barn door after the horse has left. Yeah, so what I'll do, typically when I'm drying things like this, I put it under my cutting mat and then stack a bunch of books on top. Okay. Or would it be better to put these paper to paper? Or side by side? How about side by side? And let there not be any unfortunate incidents. And is this one dry enough to cut around? Do I have sharp? Well, I guess I could try these. I don't really want to use the pinking shears. So yeah, once all of these things are thoroughly dry, I will, and in fact, I will probably just do a second row of zigzagging on all the covers that I showed you at the beginning, because again, I don't know if the machine was acting up or if I was rushing something. Maybe it wasn't totally dry, or who knows. And of course, these things always look better the minute they're trimmed up. I hope that you are safe and well. It's extremely dry in the province of Alberta, or at least in this part of it, and there are a number of out-of-control wildfires, and it is as scary as can be, because, you know, fire is such a what am I trying to say? It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't care. It doesn't care who you are. It will just, you know, run through a farm, a community, a city, destroying everything in its wake. So we need rain very badly. Now, it got cooler today because we had some unbelievable hot weather this past week. Unseasonably warm. Boy, I've got lifting here. So that, of course, didn't help anything. And then, you know, I don't know, it seems every spring that wind, and of course, tinder dry conditions, heat, and wind, Like those are all the ingredients for, you know, disaster. So the best thing that could happen is, you know, 2 or 3 days of sustained rain. It would help everything green up. It would help with the firefighting efforts because, of course, you know, you can only do so much with water bombs and that kind of stuff. So, yeah. And of course, we pray that everyone is safe, and I don't think we've heard of any loss of life, but certainly property damage can be pretty devastating too. So yeah, it's just, yeah, we need rain. I'm going to stop here. I will probably in upcoming days, yeah, let that be the plan for this one. I'll cut this one up into smaller somethings, stitch around it, and maybe make one video showing, you know, how to decorate it, how to use it. And these others will just be, will probably end up being journal covers. I think they're going to be very, very attractive. I don't know which one is my favorite, to be honest. They all have their own personality. Anyway, thanks so much for joining me. You know, based on my own little experiment here, it almost seems like maybe glue stick is the way to go. Or finding a better proportion when thinning the white glue out. But use what you have, and I'm sure you'll be happy with the results. Thanks, guys, and see you again tomorrow. Thanks. Bye.